My name is Jackson, and I graduated from NYP DMD in 2009, and I'm the founder of MightyJaxx, a toy collectible studio based in Singapore. I never actually touched art until Sec 3, and I was forced to do so because like science and math, I failed. So I had to go and take art, and I believe it or not, I actually took art tuition for it because that's how much, how bad I was. And after I started learning more about the techniques and stuff, I began to find a liking to it. So that's why DMD was one of my top choices. And going in, I began to expose myself to illustrators and designers that I look up to, that I admire. And from there on, I started collecting their items, and that's how this whole thing started. Yeah. So in the beginning, right, I everything bao ka liao, everything also I do, from design, website, creation, production, logistics, everything. And later on, as the company developed, then we would have to have key people who are, dedicated to do such roles. So we have a great design team, we have a great logistic team, and so on and so forth. So as for me, right, I'm on a more overview type of approach now, up until 3 months ago when I started doing more business development. And now day to day, I have operations manager to take care of it. Because it's by our own rules, you see. So we can create literally anything. And whenever the creative side or whoever has some certain idea, oh, can we make this into shoes, can we make this into whatever, and then we'll just go ahead and try and experiment with it. It's okay if you fail, and then we just learn from it and move on. So I think I like that whole experimentation, that we can afford to do so, much more than being in a huge company and you may not have that much say in things. So that's what I treasure a lot. MightyJaxx was born from my passion in collecting toys. Since young, I collected toy soldiers and all that, and as I grew old, that didn't stop. I just bought more and more expensive stuff. And it reached a point where I have thousands of dollars of stuff on the rack, and I was like, it's time to find out how it's made, try to get some money back. And that was like when I was 22 or 21. And the whole idea is that I go down to China and I learn how the whole process works. And from there on, I realized that there is a lure for me, in the sense that we are creating something tangible. So I decided to go into this, creating things that we like, and hopefully there are a few other people in the world who like it as well. Right now, I'm more focused on the development of the business. We're specifically moving into China and establishing a base there with our key partners. So besides that, we are exploring different market. And it's not just toys. We are now in the apparel line, we are in the IP line. We're doing a lot more creation nowadays, and we have to look into how are we going to localize it for the China market and with China partners that we already have. I come from a very average family, so one of it is to have enough cash to even start something like this, you see. So in the end, I had to go through my parents to borrow like 20,000 from the bank and created our first figurine. And then everything from there, right, is really a matter of building success upon success, so that your cash flow is able to move on to the next project. So for me, although in terms of monetary, right, I'm not that, I don't need that much money. I eat nasi lemak, I'm fine. I wear Uniqlo, it's okay. But when it comes to the business, I'm very particular about where the money is going. And I thought that was interesting because I came from a more creative background, but I found myself, caring a lot more about if it's my own business and how the cash flow is moving. So I guess from there on, the next question is, every piece of item that we create, right, is unique. So what's successful and what's not, you see. So I even spoke to a 20 years veteran in the industry, in the toy industry, one of the big companies in the US. And I asked him like, how do you even forecast what's gonna be popular? And he's like, you know what, 20 years in it, right? I have no freaking idea. What we do is that we tie in certain blockbusters and we give it enough money, enough boost, and figure out whether it can make it or not. And sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it becomes something like Transformer, and that's what it is. So I think that with that, right, it's apparent that my own feelings, my own passion, right, it factors a lot in it. You know, I have to do something that I genuinely like and not because of the money. And as I start pushing the passion, the money part is just a byproduct. We first start off with, the creation of a toy. We first start off with turnarounds, your animation turnarounds and stuff. And what happened is that we would then have our 3D artists create a 3D model, digital 3D model of it. And once it's approved, we go to the 3D printing stage to get the first prototype out. Then from there on, we can see whether it's stable, the structure itself, and before going into the conventional production, which is all the molding and stuff. Something that we work with Funk Studio, because I'm a huge fan of Funk Studio, and when they said that they are okay to collab, right, I'm like, shit, this is it, man, you know. So we did a love bomb and we got it out, it's sold out, and I'm happy, they're happy, and I think that will forever be a landmark event for me. Last year we won Entrepreneur of the Year with ASME and Rotary Club of Singapore. So that part, right, is actually, that award is actually more business driven. But for a creative company like ours to be considered at that level, right, I think that's something worth a shout out to. Because everyone else, right, is in more conservative industries. I think that creative, being in the art industry, right, you can make money. You know, there is just a certain strategy that you have to go by. That's what I believe. So I felt that was very close to my heart, because when I was doing art and all that, studying art, right, like the understanding was that, you know, you probably can't make enough money for it, or why are you doing this, you know? So I want to prove that wrong. Actually, we have quite a few really talented individuals, all fresh out from DMD or SIDM. Me and my fiance, actually, we are both from DMD. Yeah, so she started to help me out on MightyJaxx stuff in the very beginning, and now she's helping out with another venture. And over here, our illustrators, our designers, we have 3-4 from SIDM. How do I put this? They are the best. Yeah. I think, you know, SIDM students, right, they hold their strength largely in illustration and animation based type of scope. I think from the very beginning it was very obvious already that was the so-called flagship product in a way, and we managed to hire these talented people and retain them along the way, tipping them for bigger roles in the company as well. So there is also a sense of kinship, right? Because you come out from the same process. I think don't pigeonhole yourself in what you can do, because I've seen a lot of my peers, right, who went on to do tech as well, creating GUI stuff, and then taking on a more advanced role which maybe does not have much to do with design. And I think we are very focused, when I was in school, we were very focused on the quality of work per se, but I myself is not an outstanding student, you see. So my quality of work, right, is just past that type. But then, you know, you don't have to be the best. If you are able to understand what is needed to put a project to its success, right, then that's enough. The good part about coming out from SIDM is that you are a one-man tank. Like, you can create anything you want. So I'm from IM, so I can do like the website. No issue. I don't have to pay someone 5,000, 10,000 for it. I'll just do it easy in a day. And after that, do your own collateral and your own advertising, which is usually the more, okay, I don't know how much it's going to cost type of thing, you get me? And I'm able to control every part of it and at least make it look to a more decent level. Like, it's not fantastic, but it's not like, you know. So I think coming with those skills, it actually helped me a lot. I have no idea how it was going to help me in business. But when I started doing it, I was like, wow, thankfully I got all these things done and I understand what all this technical stuff is about, you see. And from there on, I have always been doing the websites and stuff and eventually have a developer that we work with. But then you understand the lingo, so it makes everything much easier. He knows what you're talking about. And I still think to that end, right, it's still very important and it remains crucial for me to have this information. I think moving on, MightyJaxx itself, we are designed to be a platform of brands that we work with independent artists to create. And although each one of them are very niche appeal, but we have a widespread demographic that allows us to create limited edition collectibles, not only toys but apparel and events and so on.